Hey everybody, Brock Freddy here, helping you enjoy your ride. In today's video, we're going to take a look at this 2021 Toyota Corolla Hybrid. As you guys may already know, I love super practical cars that just do their job very well. I like fast cars and trucks and everything, don't get me wrong. But to me, the more practical the vehicle, the more it does its job well, the better I like it. And the Toyota Hybrid does its job extremely well, all hybrid models. And in this one, we're going to take a look at the normal looking Toyota Hybrid vehicle. And I say that because a Prius, which is what Toyota is most popularly known for as far as a hybrid is concerned, doesn't look that great. Gotta be honest. This one just looks like a regular sedan. And in this video, we're gonna go over the outside, the inside. We're gonna end up behind the driver's seat where I'm gonna show you how all the buttons work, and then we're gonna take it for a spin. But before we begin, I would like to say a huge thank you to Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina for the opportunity to film this Toyota Corolla Hybrid. I'll be sure to leave all of their contact information, including their website, in the description box below. To me, I am such a practical driver and car owner that the joy of this vehicle is the extreme fuel efficiency, the fact that it's jam-packed with safety features, the fact that it's really quiet on the highway, and the fact that it's got a comfortable driver's seat. So to me, I'm probably the world's most boring YouTube car reviewer, but that's okay. I like the hybrid vehicles. I also like the practicality of what Toyota has done in all of the hybrid vehicles that they are making nowadays, and they make a ton of them. To me, the front of the Corolla Hybrid looks like it's got a little bit of an attitude. It looks like it's got an eyebrow sticking down here like, what are you looking at, punk? You can also see the blue hybrid emblem right there. You know that Toyota, whenever they integrate a blue color into their emblems, that means it is a hybrid vehicle. And then there's that big open mouth mesh looking look, big honeycomb mesh grill there that people either love or hate. That's okay. And then you've got things on here. Here's what I would like to see in this vehicle. Just regular fog lights, standard. I don't see any fog lights on this one. But then you've got your cool little LED lights and daytime running lights and everything. We'll take a look at those as well. Another thing that you have up here is one of the safety feature aspects of it, and that's that triangle right there that you see in the windshield. That actually has a camera behind it, and that's part of your lane tracing and radar cruise control, all those things. We'll take an in-depth look at that, but that's one of the sources of why those safety features even work in the first place, is that little camera right there. The look of it is actually pretty nice, in my opinion. I like the front of it, the way the front of it is kind of sharp and kind of pushed down a little bit. I mean, it's not the sportiest vehicle out there, but that's okay. Of course, you know this one is a hybrid simply by the hybrid badging there on the deck lid. Then you also have hybrid badging there on the front fender. You know it's a hybrid. I like the fact that you've got a little tailpipe sticking out right there. A lot of manufacturers are going to bumpers that come all the way down, or tailpipes that go back up under the bumper covers there a little bit, so you don't even see a tailpipe. I like the fact that this one is showing its pipe. Another one of the cool little aspects on this one is the fact that you've got this line here that looks like a light, although it's not a light. That'd be cool to actually make this an LED all the way across, but I think for budgeting reasons, Toyota probably did not do that, but that would be cool to see. That is kind of like a connector in between the left and the rear tail lights. There is a camera that's right there. You may be able to see it. Then there's your Toyota logo again, or Toyota emblem with the blue in it to let you know that it's a hybrid. And then here's your key, and you can see the blue right there and the logo right there as well to let you know that it's a hybrid. You have lock on top, unlock below that. You have a trunk button that says hold, and then of course you have hold for your panic alarm there. There is also an integrated key that is, or a physical key that's inside the key fob. You can just push down on this little tab, and then the key comes right out, and then there is your key right there. That will never be used to start the car. That's only used in the event that the battery in the key fob dies. You can use that to get in the door, and then there's still enough battery charge in there, or juice in the battery, in order to start the vehicle for a few more starts. We're going to take a look at the trunk. We're going to hold this, and the trunk pops right up. The trunk is really nice. I like the fact that Toyota used to put the batteries, like in hybrid sedans, they used to put the batteries right here, integrated into the backs of the rear seat backs. That is no more. They're going to be under the rear seats, and so that allows you to fold the rear seats, and you can see that line right there that lets you know that the seats are foldable. There's a little bit of storage there on the right side of the trunk. Then of course the same is going to be on the left side of the trunk. There's your floor mats, and then if you look under here, you have a little board right there, and you see your spare tire stuff. So I don't think this one actually has a spare tire, but it does have a pump and a tire puncture repair kit. So you can hook that up and repair your punctured tire, at which point you need to get to a authorized dealership to replace that tire. That is going to be a tow hook, and that tow hook plugs into that little panel right there. There should also be one on the front in the event that a tow truck needs to pull it out of a nasty situation. But there is your trunk, nice and roomy. The back seat situation in the Corolla is actually surprisingly good. This front seat is not completely adjusted to my height, but whoever is sitting up there, they would be comfortable even if they were my height. So you can see I've got plenty of leg room. I've got a decent amount of head space, not too much, but it's going to be pretty tight to get 3 adults back here in the back seat. But hey, it works. It's pretty basic. It's just super functional. So you're not going to want to go on real long trips, but you're going to, if you had a couple of kids, plenty of room. A couple of cup holders here, and then you've got points down here in the seat bottoms that will allow you to anchor child safety seats there into the seat bottoms. So it's roomy enough. It's pretty comfortable. Before we hop behind the wheel and look at how all the buttons and features work, let's take a look at the heart of the beast. There is a tab that is going to be just to the right of the Toyota emblem. Push that to the right, lift it up, and here's your engine. Boy, they have that blue Toyota emblem all over the place on this thing. This, on the left side, is your Atkinson cycle gasoline engine. Then over on the right side are all of the components that make it a hybrid, including there's a little battery right there. You have a coolant tank right there on the right, and that's for the electric system, and then a coolant tank over here on the left, and that's for the gas system. Washer fluid right there, relay and fuses, and then you can see the kind of oil that this one takes is SAE 0W16. That's a super lightweight oil, fully synthetic, so it gets up into the parts of the engine quickly in order to reduce wear and tear on the internal parts. But that's the little engine that could. So the Toyota does practicality really well. You know, there are cars that do fast well, loud well, efficient, everything, you know, safety, whatever. The Toyota does basically everything well except for be fast. It's a slow vehicle. But when you're driving everyday practical stuff, you don't need to go fast. You just need to get there. And I hate to say it, but the Toyota Corolla Hybrid is that car that just gets you there. It's not very fun to drive, but it's crazy affordable. It is about $3,000, $3,500 more than a non-hybrid, but it also gets 20 miles per gallon more than a non-hybrid. So if you own your cars for many years, this would be a great vehicle for you to buy. If you lease a car and you're leasing it just for the practicality of fuel economy and saving money on gas, you probably aren't going to do that because you're not going to make up for the mileage in 3 to 4 years or the term of a standard lease. So anyways, on the inside of the Toyota Corolla Hybrid, it's super plain, super practical, but everything is easily laid out, easy to understand. And let's take a look at that now. So we're going to take a look right now at this multi-directional keypad, basically this and the multi-directional keypad, and what that controls in the center multi-information display. So what I'm going to be doing right now is going up, down, left, right with that multi-directional keypad and pressing OK in the back arrow, and I'll tell you what I'm doing and when. I'm pressing down right now. So you can see on the very bottom there is a little leaf right there, and so whenever we press down, it brings up that bank of little icons, and now I'm pressing right. So this is left and right to go in these different functions. So the leaf is all fuel economy and eco information. So I can press down now, and there are a total of 2 screens. That's the first screen that gives me distance to empty, total average miles per gallon. You can see I'm averaging almost 51 miles per gallon. That is incredible. And then here is an eco score. So this tells me during my trip how well I'm driving by giving me a score like on a report card. So the more fuel efficiently you drive, the higher your score. I think my score coming over here was right at 70. Then that is radar cruise control. Over here on the right side of the steering wheel, I just press the radar cruise control button and it says radar cruise control active. And then I can press the button on the top right of the steering wheel, and that is decreasing and increasing the distance that it's going to maintain between me and the vehicle in front of me. So 3 blue blocks represents the maximum distance, and 1 block represents the minimum distance that it's going to maintain between me and the vehicle in front of me while I'm using radar cruise control. My personal preference while I'm using radar cruise is 1 block, but you have to adjust it for yourself. Then we're going to move right, and then this tells you what's going on with the whole hybrid drive system. Whenever the engine is on or whenever the battery pack is working, that tells you in real time as a visual color display what's going on. In other words, where power is going to the wheels, or when it's charging, or when it's regenerating. And then there are settings right here, and you can see that what is highlighted right now is LTA, and that's lane trace assist. And I'm going to press the OK button and hold it, and now it got me into the LTA, or lane trace assist, selection of different things I can select within that. Sensitivity, steering assist is on. It's going to nudge the steering wheel left and right as it deems appropriate according to the lane I'm in. Sway warning, sway sensitivity, so I can press OK to change any of those, and so I can keep scrolling down, and then sway sensitivity is right there. So I'm actually going to hit the back arrow and go back out. Then PCS is pre-collision system. I'm going to press and hold that, and then there's my sensitivity of PCS. That's a feature you never ever want to test, because as the name implies, pre-collision, it only works if you're about to collide with something. Let's not ever test that. RSA, that will actually recognize road signs, and so I can press and hold OK, and it gets me into that. Then I can go notification method, above speed limit or others. No notification, only visual, or visual and audio. I'm going to do only visual because I don't want it beeping at me whenever I'm speeding, whenever it sees a speed limit sign. Notification level, so that actually will identify road signs. And then vehicle settings, I can press and hold. TPWS is tire pressure warning system, and then there's scheduled maintenance. And then regular settings are all right there, so you can see that you've got several different things that you can control, and that was all within the little settings wheel, pressing left and right. So that's it for the multi-information display inside the dash cluster. Over here on the far left, you can see gauge brightness, and so that allows me to adjust the gauge brightness up and down. I can do that, and the gauges, you can barely see them right now. Then I can roll it all the way up, and there's a click, and that is the brightest. This icon here is for automatic high beams, so I can press that, and that will automatically allow the headlights to sense whenever someone is in oncoming traffic, and it will automatically dim the high beams while I'm driving at night, so that if no one is around, my high beams will cut on, so I can maximize the potential of those. That's a great feature. I recommend using that all the time. There's your fuel door pop, and then this is the adjustment for your steering wheel. And then here are your driver's door controls. So this is going to be for your mirrors left and right, because it has power mirrors. That locks the windows, locks and unlocks the doors, power windows up and down. And then right here are your controls for your turn signals and also your headlights. And then you can see here, whenever you move this forward, that is how you actually control the automatic high beams. So that's off right now. I'm going to press the automatic high beam button again, and it says to activate automatic high beam, switch headlights to high beam. So all I have to do is push this forward and it locks forward. So now that is on, my automatic high beam or my high beam lever is pushed forward. Whenever my headlights cut on automatically tonight, my high beams will cut on automatically as well until someone is around, and then it will show them courtesy and it will dim. I have also a lane change feature here. I can press this and it blinks 3 times so that I can just tap it and change lanes and release. I can fully engage there. And that's like if I'm at a stop sign or a stoplight. And then here are your controls for your wipers. Intermittent wipers, of course. That changes the level of intermittent wiper. That is mist. I can push it up once for mist. Then it defaults to off. And then here's intermittent, low, and high. Now let's take a look at this big, beautiful screen right here. You can see on the home screen, it says home right now, that you have radio, phone, and then engine information right here. You can see right now I'm listening to Luke Bryan, Knockin' Boots. That must be a song about a time when he got a new pair of cowboy boots and knocked them into something and scuffed them or something. I don't know. But then you have your phone right down here, so you can hit select phone, and that will enter you into the screen of pairing your device. I'm not going to put any devices in here right now, but that's where your Bluetooth is going to be right there. So that's when you press the home screen. This is actually fully customizable as well. I can press menu here, and you can go audio, phone, apps, projection, info, and setup. You also have display right there. So when you go to audio, it's going to fully expand the entire screen to audio right there. Here are your memorized preset stations, and you have a couple of pages of those. And notice here that you have FM, there's 1000 AM, you have also satellite radio or XM. So you can combine different modes of audio in one section of memorized preset stations. That's really cool. So you can go all the way up to, goodness, 36 different preset stations right there, combining AM, FM, and satellite. That's so cool. And then you can also see where it says hold edit. So what that means is you can take, let's just say number 7, press and hold, and it is going to memorize the current station, function and everything mode into that. So 93.1 is right there. So I can go source, and you can see here are my different sources: AM, FM, XM, USB, and Bluetooth. And I can reorder that. You can see at the bottom it says reorder. So I can put that in a different order. So I'm going to select Bluetooth because I listen to Bluetooth a lot. Now that I've selected it, I'm going to push this icon here to put it up to number 1. And then I'm going to press XM, and I'm going to put that as number 2, and I'm going to put FM as number 3. You can see how quickly I did that. It's so easy. And then once I've done that, arranged them into the order that I listen to them, I just press OK, and now that is memorized. We took a look at presets right there, then station list. So if I'm in an area that I'm not familiar, let's say I go out of town and I want to listen to country music in that area, I can just press that, and it's going to find all of the local FM country stations for that area. I can go options, I can go sound, and this allows me to adjust the treble, mid, bass, fader, balance, automatic sound levelizer. Automatic sound levelizer adjusts the volume automatically in accordance with ambient road noise. Like if you're driving at high speeds, or if your windows are down, it's going to adjust the radio volume automatically for you. That's really nice. All of that was inside of audio. There's phone. There's apps. A lot of these are going to be subscription based. I can go projection, and whenever a phone is hooked up to the compatible USB, notice that that is not projection via Bluetooth. That is projection via USB. So I actually have to have a phone hooked up physically with a wire to the USB port inside the center console here in order to project what's on my phone onto the screen of the Corolla. Then I can go information and eco, and this allows me to see in real time what's going on with the vehicle. So it will show me different colored arrows going to and from all of these different sources of power. So sources of power are going to be your gasoline engine, your electric motor, and also your battery. So you can kind of use this as a visual color cue on how to drive based on how much level you have in your battery. Then I can go trip information, and this gives me real-time trip information. I can go history, So the latest is 50.7 miles per gallon. I would say that's pretty great. You're actually probably going to get more than that if you're driving it on a regular basis and you're doing, you've got your eco score is up pretty high. You're probably going to get closer to the mid 50s on your vehicle. That's pretty darn good, I would say. Map right here, and you have to have the navigation app installed in order to use that. You have Seek and Track. It's obvious what that is. Then there is phone. There's a direct one for phone. None are selected, so that's that. Then I have the same screen for apps that I had inside the app selection menu right there. Power and volume, tune and scroll. And then I have down here at the very bottom is my climate settings, and then I have auto. You can see where it says auto. This allows you to make it work basically like the central air in your house. So you can adjust it, let's say to 72, press auto, and it's going to maintain that cabin temperature automatically at 72 degrees. Then you have off, that cuts the entire climate system off. Front defrost, rear defrost, mode, or that changes the fan direction. You can see that there. Eco heat and cool, that makes it more fuel efficient for heating and cooling of the vehicle. This also is going to make it so that the air that's actually coming out of the climate system blows a little bit less, a little less fan speed when it's on eco. Recirculate. This used to be called S-flow. I don't know what it's called now, but it actually cuts off the flow of air to the back so that you can concentrate the airflow only to the front of the front passengers and driver, and then AC. So I'm just going to press auto, and it's going to maintain that temperature in the cabin. I'm going to shift it out of park and into drive in order to show you these buttons. These are buttons that I would use the most probably in this vehicle, and I would actually like to see these buttons located not here, but up somewhere on the dash, somewhere where it's a little bit more, maybe right here, maybe a little bit more easily accessible, because I actually have similar buttons like this in my Prius, and I use these all the time. So you see it says drive mode right here. Well, whenever you press this, you've got a readout on the dash that you can see, and let's take a look at that now. Pressing drive mode right now, and that's just regular, and then you see power, and then you see eco, and you can see the little icon change, or the color of the floor of that multi-information display is changing. Eco is green, then it's blue, and that's regular, and then it's power. Well, as the name implies from those different settings, eco is going to make it drive in a more fuel efficient manner. What that's going to do though, what the actual changes to the physical car are going to happen is to the gas pedal. There's going to be more pedal travel required in order to achieve speed. So you're actually going to have to push the pedal down further in order to get up to speed. Whenever you're in power mode, there's less pedal travel, so it actually makes it feel like it's faster. It kind of takes off, and you actually do feel a physical difference in the power of the engine whenever it's in power mode versus eco mode. Then there's regular, and there's nothing on the dash whenever it's in regular mode. It's kind of a combination between eco and power. But then there's EV mode. You can see that right there. And when I press EV mode, you can see EV mode pops up right there above eco. EV mode stands for electric vehicle mode, and it allows you to drive on electricity only for very short distances, and it depends all on the charge on the hybrid battery. So if you've been driving the vehicle for 20-30 minutes, stop and go, and you've been pushing the brake in, which actually charges the battery, or if you've been coasting, letting your foot off of the accelerator, which also charges the battery through a process called regenerative braking, you don't need to worry about all that terminology. Just know that whenever you cruise or whenever you press your foot on the brake, you're charging your battery. So that's more incentive to drive in a more fuel efficient, safe manner. Anyways, EV mode allows you to drive in full electric vehicle mode, and usually this is going to be in stop and go traffic or at like parking lot speeds. You can drive in EV mode, like if you're really coasting and you're going downhill. Yes, you're going to be in EV mode. You're going to be charging your battery. Or if you're on a really flat surface and you're barely having to feather the accelerator, you probably are going to be driving on just electricity, even if you're driving 70, 80 miles an hour, but that won't be for that long because you have to push the gas in order to maintain that speed. So I'm saying all that to say, use your EV mode at very low speeds whenever you have a high charge on the battery. You'll be surprised at how often you're able to use that. Like, especially if you go from here to the store and it takes you 10 minutes to get there, hit that EV mode button whenever you pull into the parking lot of the store to look for your parking spot. If you do that enough, you'll see an increase in your fuel economy, and you're certainly going to, you can't not, because you're driving on electricity. God, I love these cars. And then wrapping up the buttons on the center console right here, this is going to be your automatic parking brake on the left, and then brake hold on the right. You can see that I'm in drive. I'm going to take it, I'm going to shift it into park, and then you should boop, there it is. So whenever I shifted it into park, the door's all unlocked. You can change that setting also, but then this automatically engaged. So instead of having to pull up on an e-brake here or having to push a brake here in order to activate the e-brake or the parking brake, it does it automatically right here for you. And now, the moment none of you have been waiting for. Let's drive this bad boy. And when I say bad boy, I use that term very loosely, because there's really not much bad about this car relative to all other cars, basically. I guess, if bad is a relative term, and of course bad, by bad I mean good. So if this car is bad in any way or cool in any way, it's just by how many miles you can get on a tank of gas. All right, so now I'm driving. It's got a great quiet drive. Of course, it has a continuous variable transmission. I remember back in the day when CVT was just coming out and you had to explain it to people. Now you don't have to explain it to people because hybrids and non-hybrid vehicles have CVTs nowadays. But listen to this. I'm going 45 right now. It's insanely quiet. Right now I am on electricity only because I've built up enough speed and there's enough charge on the battery right now in order for me to drive in just electricity. So right now I'm literally getting 100 miles per gallon. My eco score on my multi-information display is 92. So I'm absolutely killing it right now as far as fuel economy is concerned. It says radar ready. My steering thing is working and everything, and it's just an easy, soft, kind, gentle ride. To me, that's actually a really good thing. I like whenever I'm driving, I drive a lot for the job that I do, and whenever I'm driving, I'm solely focusing on fuel economy, and because that's helps save me money. So if you're buying this vehicle, if you're even looking at this video, then you get excited by fuel economy. Therefore, as far as it being bad, this thing's pretty bad, I gotta admit. All right, I'm gonna do a UE. It's got an excellent turning radius. I love that. Here we go. I'm gonna gas it here. And that's 60. And that's not too bad. Oh, I got too far over in one lane, so it pushed me back. Yes, sir, I'll comply. And that was actually in eco mode. I have my drive mode buttons down here in front of the gear shifter that I was just talking to you about. So I'm gonna switch over and put it in power mode. And now and like I said before, you can absolutely feel an instant difference between power mode and eco mode. So I'm actually going to go up here, and there's nobody behind me. I'm not going to come to a complete stop, but I'm going to go slow down enough to actually feel the difference between power and eco. Here we go. Pedal is on the floor. There's 60. So yes, it's not something to really get excited by as far as the speed is concerned, but when you look down and you're getting 100 miles per gallon because you're in electricity mode and your tachometer is reading 0 and you're only using electricity, To me, that's something to get excited about. Now, again, I know what people are going to say. Everybody's going to say, well, you got to pay $3,000, $3,500 up front in order to get that fuel economy. Yes, that is true. But if you own a vehicle, which is what, in my opinion, you should do, if you buy a vehicle and you own it for a number of years, longer than the average of 48 months, which is what most people do in America, then you'll actually recoup your money and more. So to me, it's just a win-win. I love it. To me, performance is fuel economy, performance equals safety, and all of these things are in this one vehicle and are easy to use. Right now, here's another neat little observation. There's a little speed limit sign because of the fact that this has that road sign identification system, RSA. There's a little picture of a road sign, a speed limit sign that says 45. And if I get much over 45, up into 46, 47 miles per hour, a little red ring comes around that, and just to let me know, hey, you're over the speed limit, but it doesn't like freak out or anything. That's pretty cool. Just a little visual aid to let me know that I'm speeding. I'm still in power mode. There's 60 there. So I still got a lot to go. I didn't have the pedal down very far. You can hear a little bit of wind noise. That's par for the course. Here's another way that Toyota has really improved the drive of all of their hybrid vehicles is the fact that whenever the gasoline engine kicks in after the electric motor has been going, whenever you take off from a stoplight, you first start off on electricity only, and then the gasoline engine kicks in. Well, on the older technology, like in my vehicle, my Prius is a 2015, that vehicle, you can feel the bump of the gasoline engine kick in. On this one, it is literally totally seamless. I don't know what they've done in order to improve that technology, but you cannot feel really the integration or the cooperation between the electric motor and the gas engine. It just is, it's seamless, and that is a beautiful thing, because that really gets kind of annoying sometimes. Okay, everybody, that's going to do it for our look at the 2021 Toyota Corolla Hybrid. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you and bringing it to you. I think this is a performance vehicle in a whole different realm. Performance based on fuel efficiency, comfort, and convenience, and safety. That's kind of my radar of performance features and designations as of late. Thanks again for watching, everybody. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a big fat thumbs up, and also share it with somebody that you think may enjoy it as much as you did. Again, I would like to say a huge thank you to Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina, for the opportunity to film this video. Be sure to check them out by clicking their link in the description box below. But remember, the most important thing of all, everybody, have a wonderful day.